We're going to continue where we left off. The subject we're learning about is taking haircuts, shaving in Chol Hamoed, and I find it a good place to start because you see how strong Chazal were in trying to not allow any wiggle room. We don't want you doing things on Chol Hamoed, the end. And it's really quite amazing. I'm going to start with a Bir Halacha Shaloi B'Mkoimoi at the end of the Siman, because I have to win you over. So I'm going to use some politicking to get us there. What would you say a person has some kind of a medical need to cut his hair on Chol Hamoed? In the scalp. Yeah, that's good. Okay. What would you say? Be permitted. Why not?
Depends how severe it is.
Well, no. What should be? Where could this whole subject start? Right. So I'm going to start with this. Go to the end of the Siman. We're going to go in order. But this is an introduction. Sifches. Okay. Muta kol adam muta lito safa b'chol hamoed. You're allowed to cut your mustache. Says the Bir Halacha. Ayim Rabbi Avrohom shochiach de b'mokom makesh al yad afil k'she'enu nogel b'kuach nefesh muta lahaver asar. You have hair that has to be removed because you have some kind of a bruise or whatever it may be. Ayim machzor shekel u'machsh melchor minei dimhaya ze b'roishoy aser, because since it's not on your head, so then we'll make it. But if it would be what?
It's more obvious on your head.
No, it's the haircut. You don't have haircuts here. There's not a haircut issue, right? You don't have haircuts on your head. Okay. So this is like an impossible thought. How could this be? He's doing it for reasons. You know, it's clear. There's no suffix as to what the purpose is over here. Da'afilu b'roishay muter, u'mi shalom makeh b'roishay muter l'stap b'moed. Lefi ma she'mefarash al minchas bikurim, kavonas habraysa hu hecha d'nesap b'moed. If you had something that you couldn't do for medical purposes beforehand, and now you could do it, so the urgency is what allows you to do it. V'kach muter mipnei shelo ha'yachol l'gachol mikoydem machmas hamakah. So I couldn't take a haircut beforehand because I had a head cast. Now I got the head cast off, so now I can take a haircut. So that's Beseder. But lulezeh, even though it's for medical purposes, we're not so forgiving. That's the ikar of what I wanted to say. No, this is not what I think that people would have expected to be the halacha. So here we see that Chazal were very frugal in allowing people to take haircuts, and this is a hekesh to all other halachas which you're going to see. That's all. We could maybe when we learn that halacha, we'll discuss it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see. Now I want to just reiterate what we said last time. Be'etzem, taking a haircut should be mutter on Chol Hamoed, because all personal grooming should be mutter. The reason why it's usher is because Chazal came and slapped an isser on it because they want you to do it beforehand. But lule zu, it was a mutter. In other words, we're not starting off with, right? In other words, midaraisa there's no isser. This is all midrabanan, and it's all because we want you to be taking haircuts beforehand, that we invented a new isser, and in a very unforgiving fashion. That's what I'm trying to drive home this point. So now,
you just ask, what is the tircha of getting a haircut?
It's not a tircha. We want you to groom yourself before Yom Tov, and people will look to do things on Chol Hamoed that they didn't have time to do beforehand. because anyways you have nothing to do with Chol Hamoed, so why don't you take care of all my important things, like take my haircut, right? So, what? Do you wash, right? So that could be that doesn't fit into that. There could be there's a malacha aspect. We're going to learn about each one of these things, but because we want you to come into the moed looking spiffy, so therefore we answered you from taking a haircut, even though it should theoretically be mutter. Okay. Now we said even if a person has an oinus, it has to be an oinus that everybody knows about, and if it's not an oinus everybody knows about, you can't do it because it's a breach. People are going to see that you took a haircut, and people are going to come to be makel. I mentioned last time, I'm saying this over again, I sometimes have that issue in Sphira, the halachas is a moil is allowed to shave. So, but do you really want to do that? That's like the kind of question. All right. Now, this we were up to. Ve'elu magalchi b'moed. Misha yotza mebeis hashivya. Someone came out of captivity. V'lehoyo lo pnai legalech kodem hamoed. He didn't have a chance, and we're going to see in the Mishnah Berurah what does that mean.
And everyone knows he was in prison.
And all the things. Oh, you know what? I thought that we did Sif Gimel. Maybe I didn't. I just prepared it last time. Let's do Sif Gimel. Imhaya onus uvipnei kach lo gilach ve'erev yantiv. Person had an oinus. He had a bona fide oinus. He was planning to. He made an appointment with the barber, and he got a flat tire, and he wasn't able to make it there. A regular oinus. And he did do it. Eina megalech b'moed. He's an oinus. But what are people going to say? Do people know you're an oinus? People don't know you're an oinus. So, v'hu adin l'misha yachoyle v'nesapa b'moed. People don't know that you're a choyle. Now we're going to see the Mishnah Berurah about this. Afilu ha'ya onus, kegoin she'avod lo aveda be'erev ha'regel, oy ha'umen lo yochol legaleach, v'chihai gavna shari onsim, levad, ha'mvorm heter basif m'shachazeh. Why? V'hani onsin mifursamim ugeluyim lakol. The ones which we're going to say are mutter, those are ones that everybody knows about. She'i efshar lehem legalech mikoydem. Avol shari onsim, Eino mifursamim v'yaduim. People don't know you had a flat tire. So even though the person didn't do anything wrong, he wasn't lax, and it fits all the technical criteria, we're really tightening the screws over here because we don't want anybody to be doing what you're not supposed to do, which is what's the terrible thing? You can be megalech hamoed, and what's the terrible thing? You didn't do it before Yom Tov. So look how chomor the halacha is. Who had the Misha Yachoyle? She'omru she'achoyle kishum mistape machbel al chol. Afil hoche ein ze oines goli kol kach. V'yovu lahate av shalom itoich oines kanal. Now, this is a fascinating Sharetzian over here. But again, he's involved in this concept of befarhesia. People know about it. It's a very technical halacha. But the point that I'm trying to drive out, when somebody says to you, are you taking a haircut before Yom Tov? After you finish learning this siman, you're going to understand that it's an important thing to take a haircut before Yom Tov. It's not just like a nice thing. All right, let's continue. Dalet. Mishatz Beis Asurim came out of jail. Afilu Yachovish B'Yad Yisrael. Shoyim Anichim Bo Galeach, but he wasn't able to. We'll soon Mishnah Berurah explain why. V'chein Hamenuda She'atiru Lo B'Regel. A person was in Chayrim and he's not allowed to take a haircut, and they released the Chayrim on Chol Hamoed. V'chein Mishanot Shelo Galeach. V'nishal Nida B'Regel. He's allowed to be Megalech. All these are oinsim, which we call them sensational. And because they're sensational, people know about them. People know about them, so that people aren't going to make an extrapolation from here to their personal scenario and be megalech b'moed. Next, v'chein haba mimedinas hayom b'chol hamoed, o shabo b'erev haregel, v'lehoya shohos b'yom legalech. Now, I just would like to say something. Nowadays, I think that this halacha is archaic.
On that Erev, when he came Erev Yom Tov?
What?
The one who came Erev Yom Tov?
No, it's you came from Medina. Most travel is done by plane, right? No, the only way you could come on Chol Hamoed is if you left on Yom Tov, right? No, I don't know how long a plane can fly for, but I don't think it can fly for 24 hours. Can it? What?
Yeah.
Close to what?
17.
I'm saying you
The
can.
longest flight is like about 16 hours.
17.
Yeah. Okay. So you can't. So this is archaic be'etzem, right? The only thing is you could say no. You took a cruise. Right. Now that would be something to be a person. Anybody took a cruise, everybody would know about it, right? So, but what? They could for sure. They could. They're doing a lot of things on the cruise, but we'll just leave that. We'll leave that for a different year. But actually, what? I'm sorry. What? You will see. We're not finished yet. But I happen to be. I'm the skipper. I'm the crew of the cruise. Okay, I'm a working guy. We think I go stum around the world, you know.
Could you not clarify what you meant by archaic? Does it mean?
It's not really relevant. You know, we don't. That the situation of the halacha just doesn't exist.
Is it not saying for that reason it might not be applicable, or it's just?
No, I don't think it's not applicable. I do think, though, however, it's questionable to me if there's a heter for. In other words, I don't know what was going on in the boats of yesteryear, but that people didn't take haircuts on them. I don't think they had time for such, or the presence of mind for such niceties. Right? In other words, I understand that a person was on a boat going wherever they were going. That wasn't. People weren't shaving. People weren't taking haircuts. No, that was a given in that environment, right? Now, anybody who's on a boat for more than 72 hours, they have their linen changed 3 times a day, right? We're in a different environment. So I'm not going to go out and say that halacha doesn't apply. I don't know, but I'm just saying that definitely the onus, which these are all things which are called an aspect of onus, I promise you, not that I know, there's a barber shop on the yacht. I can't promise you Bemet, but what? I'm sure you can have your shoes polished for you. You have it all your very important needs. What? The idea of it. I say it could be it's the other way around. That's I already alluded to that. I think it's the other way around. Anybody here who takes a cruise, everybody's going to know about it. Not for the same reason, or maybe it is the same reason, just on the other side of the fence.
What does the Shulchan Aruch mean? Just came late.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
why is that? That's what they did. So you should leave earlier.
No, you know, if I'm being charged on a bus, my niece.
So why is that something?
My niece went to the airport today to go back to America, and she was stuck there for 6 hours. Why doesn't she just come on time? Because she is not.
And that's something that everyone knows.
We know. These are the kinds of things. You know, it's a little bit hard for us to relate to these halachas because we don't have exactly these realities. But that's the concept over here. Okay, this is a. I'd like to share with you since it's something like Bein Hazmanim still in some people's minds. One of the first days of Bein Hazmanim, somebody called me up to ask me a shayla, and he comes from a rather wealthy family. So I asked him, and where are you going, Bein Hazmanim? And he told me some foreign destination. We'll just foreign as many translations, they're all applicable. And some foreign destination. And I said, aha. So he says to me, Rabbi, I really wanted to discuss with you the idea of going to Chutz La'aretz on vacation. So I said to him, "Did you buy tickets already?" So he said, "Yes, I did." So I said, "I answer halachic shalos for free. For information, I charge." You don't have what to speak about by the Shalom Zocher, but he asked Rabbi Zachariash, that's not my job. Okay? So we're going to touch on the subject, which is a serious subject that has to be discussed, and not really this forum, but with Mishnah Berurah goes into a little bit of detail on the subject. Okay. Says the Mishnah Berurah, כיוון שיצא בבחתך חמויר, או אפילו בערב יום תוסל חשיך, שלא ישוס לגלח ביום. מי שיצא בייס אסורים, הכנה מכשלא ישוס לגלח בערב יום תביבוד יום. ביד ישראל, וכיוון שהיה בצער לא גילח. Even if your person is torud. Now, I was yesterday in the hospital to visit a family of somebody who's very ill. And these are davening people. Some people are daveners. They weren't davening. They weren't saying Tehillim. And I looked at their faces, and I realized they can't. They just can't. Not. What? No. They just. I don't know how you say that exactly in English. Yeah, but it's not. It's not. You're paralyzed. You're paralyzed. You're not able to function, and that's what happens. Okay, so a person's in jail. The last thing that he thinks about is taking a haircut. He has worse issues, like how many hole-in-ones he's going to get in the golf course. Sheitirlo baregel, a person who had a nidui, and they were mated the nidui on the regel. The mekoydim hoyaso this galech. A person who's in need is not allowed to take haircut. But l'chein avi oynes v'mash lo giach koydim. V'yesh chalka b'zeh v'svir lehud the heichish hayachol levakesh lefayis lahater regel v'loy piyas. A person who could have before the regel, he could have gone to the bezdin and somehow convince them of his sincerity of tshuva and got them to remove the cherem, the nidui, so you chose not to. Is that called the oinus? I would like to share with you an Elul thought. Somebody did to me something once that caused me much embarrassment and harm. And it took me 10 years till I was able to be meichel. It took me 10 years. Now, it's not that I didn't want to be meichel. I just wasn't. No, it's not a... Okay? And the truth of the matter is, there's such a story with Rebbe Lapian also, the same kind of a thing. He took on a special Musa Seder to work on himself, to bring himself to be Meichel. But the bottom line is that sometimes a person does something and he's put in Chayrim. Can he back off? Sometimes a person can, sometimes he can't. Just explaining there's a human factor over here, which is a little bit complicated. Okay. Okay. But neshal al nidro b'regel, yesh cholkim and the same thing gam b'zeh. The davkim lo motza chacham lahater nidro atach regel. But if you could have had somebody, and many times I know people. Let's use an example that if the regel comes out on, I don't know if it could come out on Erev Shabbos or something like that, where you on a time where you don't, on a Thursday, and you don't usually take a haircut on a Thursday, and you want to be mater netter. So many people don't know how to be mater netter by themselves. They didn't have somebody to teach them, and they didn't have Google or Rabbi, so they're called the oinus. ומה שאין כלים לא ירוצה לאט קודם וכך ונמבח דלא חושב אונס ודאס המוגרב לא מחוק בזה כדאס המחב דלא חשינו לפושע שהיה לו לאט מקודם why? כי משקודם רגל לא היה כלל בדייתא לאט נדרוי just אחר כך נמלח so then it will be permissible Haba Medinas Hayam. Now, Dafka mi Medinas Hayam de Mefarsam Milsa. People who do international travel, people know about it. Aval b'derech acher lo. Why? Because that's non-sensational. V'ay machzah shekel du adim v'shar mokom rochok moed de Mefarsam Milsa. Now, I don't understand what I'm telling you right now, but my grandparents in the 1920s went from Seattle, Washington to Los Angeles, and the community of Seattle had a mishmorot of people saying Tehillim the whole 3 days that it took them to travel. I'm just telling you what I heard from someone from Seattle that remembers this. Now, what? Not today, right? Right. I used to have a car like that took 3 days. Yeah, but no, it's the for some milsa people travel. It's a drop of a bucket. Doesn't make any difference.
Flying today,
There's no. We don't have that whole. So then the question becomes. But again, we don't have the whole question. It could be the whole question doesn't exist because whenever you're going to travel, you weren't traveling on the moed. It just doesn't happen. Okay. Again, these are the kinds of things. I'll just add to this a fascinating thing. People ask me about saying Tfilas HaDerech when coming to Beit Shemesh, and I'm not right now discussing that question in itself. But when I was a bocher, it was well known from Rabbi Avrohom Kamenetsky that people who travel from Muncie to New York City, which is about a 45-minute journey to the George Washington Bridge, the people who do it every day, not the George Washington Bridge, could also be 45 minutes, but that's a different issue. But if people do it every day, they don't say Tfilas HaDerech because that's not called a derech. That's called their, what? That's and again. Because we live in a different environment. Okay. You gimel b'chol hamoed, v'davka shelo bo b'yishuv ha'chol hamoed. The dim bo b'erev yom to b'mokom yishuv, u'bo b'zman she'esh shahos mi'b'od yom negaleach, even though it wasn't your city, even though you didn't get to your house until chol hamoed, ein ze oines shaylo legaleach b'erev yom to b'irahu. In other words, you got off the plane in Lud, you could have taken a haircut in Lud, so just because you didn't make it to Yerushalayim until Chol Hamoed, you're not allowed to take a haircut. V'ayim b'moged Avrom shekosov, davka shoy b'mokom yishuv v'shtayim v'shlosh yom kodem regel, v'achar kach b'ev regel ahoy b'yishuv, k'gon sheyoshav al sfina u'bo lebeis b'chol hamoed shebo le'ir samach achshech v'lehoy shos b'yom ha'galeach, gam kemuter l'galeach b'chol hamoed. It doesn't make a difference if, we'll just say it in simple terms, if you already needed a haircut and you were b'yishuv. If on Erev Yontif you were not in a yishuv, the time when you're supposed to be taking a haircut, so then that's enough to give you a hetek. You went to Erev Yontif, gufa haya onus. Okay. Now here we speak about the person who went on a trip. Pirish, the Eretz Yisrael, or Mechutz La'aretz, or Chutz La'aretz, af b'yotza l'tayel, she'eno dvar mitzvah. Afilu hochi muter legaleach. If there was no issue with your travel, you're going from Eretz Yisrael to Eretz Yisrael, from Chutz La'aretz to Chutz La'aretz, so it doesn't make a difference. Even if you went for a pleasure trip, you're allowed to be megaleach. Kevat sheyasa b'rishus ha'isa, shelo yasa iser b'zeh. Ava b'Eretz Yisrael l'Chutz La'aretz, eino muter ela yotza l'harviach, o liras pnei chaveroi, du choshev dvar mitzvah. There has to be an aspect of a dvar mitzvah over there. Shamut elotzeis me'Eretz Yisrael b'shul zeh, that there's enough of a reason to go to Eretz Yisrael for that purpose. Mash'en ken the taya ba'alma, a person who hasn't been in the Indies and he feels an urge to see Mount Everest or something like that. V'chai gavna also lotzeis me'Eretz Yisrael l'chutz la'aretz. V'lo yitir lo ligaleach. So now there's a lot of discussion on this subject of going to chutz la'aretz. I'd just like to share a thought. What I'm saying right now is a thought. I'm not saying the bottom line halacha. We live in an extremely strange time that things don't make sense. Somebody came to me with the following question. He wants to take his family on vacation to Italy because it's cheaper than taking them to the Golan. So he asked me, is that a good enough reason to go to Chutz La'aretz? Right? Now this is, I think the Mishnah Berurah would have a difficult time understanding what I'm saying. Could be even I have a difficult time understanding what I'm saying. But no less, you live in America, it's cheaper to fly to Los Angeles than it is to Baltimore, right? I don't know. We live in a world that so what's called a tzorech, what's called a need, etc.
Yeah, thank you.
is a difficult issue, and just to leave it. So just saying, leaving that as a thought. Okay, now. Be'en megalchim b'moed, says the Bir Halacha, afila de akum, v'kol ma shekosu Chol Hamoed de muter, hainu afila de Yisrael. Now, I'd just like to explain that Mishnah Berurah, which we really explained it 5 times already. There's really nothing wrong with taking a haircut on Chol Hamoed. So if it's mutter, it can be done by a Jew. And the reason we don't want you to take a haircut is because we want you to have done it beforehand, so it doesn't help that you're doing it with a guy. The guy and Jew issue is not the subject. To anybody who thinks that is the subject, they miss the point of what's going on. Okay. All right. We're not going to get involved in the... Maybe we should see this Bir Halacha, because the Bir Halacha over here is a general Bir Halacha. Again, theoretically, there's no problem with taking a haircut. Therefore, says the Mishnah Berurah, V'da, de'elu she'etiru legaleach, afilu kedarko b'lo shinui. You're allowed to do it in a regular fashion. The Mishnah Shalom galech l'kibus v'chadei machta, v'chiechi de'kibus sharina afilu kedarko. When the kibbutz is allowed, you're allowed to do it in the normal fashion. V'adin yin giluach. V'oid v'psachim isa chayotim shekein achayat tefer kedarko b'chol hamoed, v'asapor mekayvsin shekein mutor b'chol hamoed b'bo min hayam. So it makes it clear that those that it's mutter, they don't have. There's no aspect of doing a shinoi to make it into like a derabanan kind of a thing. But a tanakama aratzanim oser b'yadal avshen sham mutom lasu b'chol hamoed k'reisa v'akoch de'ein l'meidim min hashinu b'chol hamoed lahatir b'sham kedarko. U'lefi zeh muchach lahediyah d'yanenu d'sapirim b'kayvsin hitiru lahem kedarko. V'chur kosher. What's this kasha? Halidavar she'enu oichol nefesh v'utzorech hamoed kaimlon deboy shinui. There's a klal, something which is not oichol nefesh, and it's tzorech hamoed. It needs a shinui. Ulay mipnei shehoya adko anusim ba'davar osum chazal kedavar ha'ovid. There were anusim that were made like a davar ha'ovid. The kaimlon davar ha'ovid ain't tzorech shinui. V'adayin tzorech iyun. And there's a different answer to this question, and that is that this isn't called tzorech hamoed. This is called tzorchei haguf. And tzorchei haguf is mutter just like without a shinoi, just like cooking is mutter without a shinoi. No one ever thought that on Chol Hamoed you have to cook with a shinoi. Even on Yom you have to cook with a shinoi. Why? Because it's mutter, it's like hutra. So tzorchei haguf or hutra, I don't know why the Bir Halacha doesn't say that answer. All right. Now, next halacha. Cotton mutter galech b'moed, afilu noile koydem oregel, v'afilu b'fares shari. This is not really very negate to us, but let's do it. We have no problem with him of nichlas menuvel. Why? Because the lav bar mitzvah. Now, there's certain times that there are halachas that people are very romantic about, and that's nice, but that's not halacha. I got a phone call once from a cheder here in Beit Shemesh. We're taking the kids to the kaisel, and we didn't tell them to bring special kriya clothing. What do? Does a katan have to rip kriya when he goes to the kaisel? It's not so simple. A katan is patur from avelos. Now kriya, whether it's included or not, there's a whole machlokes. But I told them the truth. I said to them, I'm not qualified to answer this question. So they said to me, why not? I said because this question, aside from being a halachic question, is a chinuch question. And this has to ask to the rabbi who is in charge of the chinuch of the school. No, I'm not qualified. If he wants to discuss it with me, I'm willing to discuss it with him. But ultimately, the question over here has a chinuch issue, and that's not my department. It's just not my department. You understand? It's not, at least, you know. So here we're just saying over here, what do we do with our children? So I would like to right now, we're going to see this Shara Tshuva, which we spoke about previously, but now it's B'mkoimoi. I feel annoyed at it beforehand, and you could have been megalech beforehand. B'tamanayim pri megodim shemitzad afilu ben kama shonim kol sheligil shlosh esrei shonim mutter legalcha b'moed. Anybody who calls me up and says, my son is 10 and I didn't have a chance to give him a haircut before Yontif, you give him a haircut on Chol Hamoed, you're not going to tell him? No. That's about how long it's going to take me to answer the question, okay? And they're going to say, but Rabbi Zachariash, I took a Dirshu test on Mishnah Berurah, and they asked this question, and I'll tell them, I know, I'm familiar, okay? But you know, there's a question of mutter and aser. You get me annoyed. If the kid would be mitzvah who had a haircut a week ago. She can. And not only that, I'll tell it to you the way it is. The kid is not mitzvah without a haircut. It's his mother that's mitzvah. Okay? let's be honest. What's going on? Okay? But I don't buy it. I don't buy it. What? Whatever. But it's not the kid. For some reason, I don't see kids clamoring to get haircuts. You know, they'll even go to the bath first. You know what I mean? What?
Only with showers.
Yeah, I'm saying this, you know. But anyways, I didn't say it can't be. But all right. Now, since I want to see the Shari Tshuva. And this is fascinating. I am berhativ. V'ayim began hamel shekosel bezel l'shana. We're in mine. It's called Zayin or Vav. I don't know. It has two numbers over here. I can't figure out what it is. Mutter lahasha simchas tigalachas sha'osim l'koton kedei lahagdil simcha b'moed. We learned about this when we're learning about the 3 weeks. You're allowed to push off a chalaka to Chol Hamoed. U'mitzvah nami ika b'kach. Why? Because there's no problem with giving a baby, a child, a haircut. Go with that. Va'inyan shel simchahu u'minig Eretz Yisrael gam kein she'oishin simcha b'tagalachas shel hakoton u'mechanchen hoisa b'mitzvos lias lo peyes haroish. Okay, and therefore the idea of simcha should be doubled up. And you do it on Chol Hamoed when it's a time of simcha. I'm not sure I understood that question. Because they're doing things that give you simcha. In a spiritual sense, yeah. So, but you put the two things together, and it brings about a greater simcha. But as you understand, you have to see the background of this halacha. This is not a kula. There is no problem with the haircut. Now, there's no chinuch problem either, right? 3-year-old chinuch problem. There's no chinuch problem either. We discussed this. Yeah, but this is a special event. I just mentioned there's nothing to do with what we're talking about. I'll just share with you a question I was asked in Basel B'Cholov yesterday. Now, I was asked this question by a family member of mine. Okay? This is the question, we have these tips that are used to put cream on cake, and they're parav, and we would like to use them for milchiks. Can we use them for milchiks? Everything is done cold. It's the question that I was asked. And I said, it's 100% mutter, don't do it. Okay? Now, this was said, this is on the speaker in my car, what's it called, the Bluetooth, and there were 4 Rabbanim in the car when this happened, and there was a vehement discussion afterwards on what was said over here. Now, I said to one of the people, I'm asked many times, can I use my mixer on Erev Shavuos to make, what's the mitzvah? I say, Avada, right? So I say that I allow that when I'm asked that question for Shavuos only. Why? Because Shavuos only isn't a charig, it's a charig of a charig. Nobody says because you did it for Shavuos, you can do it during the year.
Once a year.
What?
Once a year, that's one more.
Right, so therefore it's mutter. I didn't say it's usher. Right? You understand the people want to use the parava thing for milchiks, and they have dish towels, milchiks, fleishiks, and parav. Just imagine what's going on, okay? So there's some kind of a lack of clarity. Okay, let's continue. Avel shechal shvi shaloi b'Shabbos erev haregel muter legaleach b'chol hamoed, because he wasn't able to do it beforehand. Now, I would like to read the next halacha. It's a fascinating thing, but in order to express it, I'm obligated to give a little bit of a hakdama. There is a discussion in the poskim about somebody becomes a chozer b'tshuva if he has to go to the mikveh, just like a ger. Chalakis Rishonim. The Chassam Sofer, in his Hagoyos and Shulchan Aruch Chelik Beis, which are printed in a separate sefer, if someone wants to see it, I possess that sefer. The Chassam Sofer says, we paskin that the tefillah is not ma'akiv, and therefore, if you buy kelim made by a machalel Shabbos, they do not need tefillah. But if you are from those who are of the opinion that it's imperative that the chozer b'tshuva go to the mikveh, then you would have to tovel a kli that was made by a Jew that's Machal Shabbos. So this is some Sefer's connection which he makes, and there are many things that go together. Now, Misha Hamer Dasoi, a person that became a foreign religion observer, v'chaza b'tshuva, and now Baruch Hashem he returned to the fold. V'darkoi legaleach, and the custom is a person who becomes a Baal Tshuva to take a haircut. Muter legaleach b'moed. What is this? What are we talking about? This is like a strange halacha for most people, right? Says the Mishnah Berurah, v'darkoi legaleach pirush b'mokom shenoagim shebali tshuva megalchim. Why? Because the avodas gilulim doim lemeis u'metzora. They're compared to a mace and a metzora shetounim kiluach. Muter legach b'moed. Afilu chazer b'tshuva koydem oregel v'yachol legalech mikoydem. Afilu hachi shar b'diavad. So this is a chariga from the earlier laws that we said before, that if you had the opportunity before and it's aser. Why? Sharei ein mitztarfin oisoy lechol davar shebekedusha ad shigaleach. So we have a tzarech mitzvah, an imperative tzarech mitzvah that demands that he have the haircut now, and therefore he's allowed to do it. Okay.